Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review. This is another paid request, this time from Ben. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, topics, reactions, re-reviews, randomness, commentaries, out of the blueness, whatever it may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for True Detective, Season 1, Episode 2. Now, I did talk about Episode 1, and like I mentioned that one, this is doing a decent enough job with, yes, many times I looked at these shows that are only 8, 10 episodes long. I'm thinking, you know what, maybe this would work better as a movie. It's just you don't have to put filler in to stretch it out. Stranger Things is one of those shows I mentioned about that. Westworld, I saw the first episode of that. I didn't really care for it at all. But this one, I gotta admit, it is slowly pulling me in because at least this is doing a really nice job developing its characters. And a great point of interest is the casting of Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson. Two very strong, solid actors. And the fact that they get to work together, on screen together. And I wasn't sure about the two different timelines, but I will say, going into this one, I've warmed up to that because it does create some interesting points of view of reflection between what happened then and what's going on now. For those who don't even know, True Detective, I believe there's 3 seasons. Each one's like their separate story. 2 or 3 seasons. This one stars Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson as they're investigating these killings that have an occult nature. Because in the first episode they found this hooker dead with like antlers or stuff on her. Just very weird occult stuff. So go from that older timeline and then the newer timeline where the two detectives are being interviewed and you find out that the killings have started again. So wait, if you guys caught him before, why is this started again? And like I said, the crime itself, at least right now, doesn't seem that interesting because it seems, based on the 2 episodes, it's more about the characters than the crime itself. What I mean by that is there's not a lot of depth to the crime and what's going on, except little teeny tiny trinkets, like finding little sculptures or interviewing a few people here and there. But at the very least, with Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson, including this episode, finding more about them made it at least interesting. It made me see more of these characters at a bit of a 3-dimensional light. And what do I mean by that? For example, Matthew McConaughey brings this up in the first episode to Woody Harrelson's wife, but I like that, okay, the next episode, he does admit to Woody Harrelson why he was off before, that his kid has died. He thought it was a bit, if he saw Woody Harrelson's family, he would be have these weird feelings about, you know, sorrow, all that stuff. And Woody Harrelson said I liked his performance where he's like, he's sorry, man, he feels bad for what happened to McConaughey. Then you get to the current timeline where McConaughey, very different look, hair, mustache, all that stuff. Talk about how he's working 4 nights a week, and in between that, I just drink. And he loves it. And you get the idea of, like, you look at McConaughey, there was a stint where he was working undercover in the narcotics. Undercover to the point of he had to do drugs to be part of undercover, to get them to trust. And because that long expended expansion of time doing that, he would have moments where he will see these weird hallucinations. And so, yeah, a couple times in this, we had some interesting visuals, like he's driving with Woody Harrelson, and we and him are seeing these weird haze thing filter the sky and filter the windshield, but he doesn't tell anybody because he doesn't want Woody Harrelson to freak out. So it's interesting to have a character that has these weird hallucinations because of what he's been through. You also find out that there's a point where during the narcotics phase, some guy injected drugs into a baby, and McConaughey went off and pop, 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 fucked that guy up. And ultimately, there was also another shootout. He got hit. He was hospitalized. And that's what made him jump to homicide. And you really get the idea of that he's a very cynical person. He's a guy who does not have any high hopes for humanity. Because he mentions about how his daughter died, but maybe I don't want to say for the better because that sounds really bad. The way he put it was maybe she was able to not have the sin of having me as a father. She had one dream, and then somewhere in that blackness she slipped out, and she didn't have to worry about the horror and terribleness that this world thinks about. Like, again, very cynical, bleak view of humanity. And the way that scene was done is like, she was not in pain, and in a weird way shows that he really does care about his daughter, how it really fucked him up to this day. The score was very subtle and nice and emotional, not in your face, not full-blown orchestra. It hit the right emotional moments and does a nice job of painting the picture of this character. And then Woody Harrelson, talked about how you need release when you're doing all this stuff, and we come to find out that he's cheating on his wife. And McConaughey can notice, and Woody Harrelson threatens him, but McConaughey grabs his wrists, and Cohle goes, "You know what? I could just snap your wrists," and he really can. And Woody knows it, and then he backs off. I thought that was a nice. It was a confrontation between the two, but still dealing with character development. And that's really what most of this episode was further development of these two characters. I do hope they get more to the meat of what's going on with the crime. Ben would know that because he requested the first episode on this one. I do hope they get a little bit of meat to the matter, so to speak, of the crime itself. I mean, so far, some weird guy or whoever, and then something to do with a church that's in the middle of nowhere, which I thought was interesting, and nicely filmed. I mean, it's filmed like a movie. I mean, it's HBO, there's a bit of a budget, probably because of these two actors involved. They also bring humanity to the characters, like Woody Harrelson, even though he's cheating on his wife, which is bad. There's still humanity to the character, because one of the people they interview, Woody notices she's underage, and then he snaps at the, I don't know what you call her, the pimp, whatever the fuck. She's not equipped to make these choices, but I guess you don't give a shit unless you're making your money. And apparently the sheriff around that town knows about it, pisses Woody Harrelson off. I thought that was a nice character moment for him. This is not an action show. I highly doubt there's going to be action set pieces. It'd be nice, because I don't think that's a bad thing to have in this kind of show. It would be nice to see, but I'm not expecting that. Or foot chases and stuff. I know it's not an action show. It's just something that would be nice to see. I didn't hope a bit more meat to the matter. Like the two cops going into a crypt or going into not a sewer but a tunnel and investigating to get the mood, the atmosphere. Because I will say, it's not like I'm feeling any fear scares when you're dealing with this occult horror stuff. I guess that's the one thing I'll nitpick as for now, is that it'd be nice to feel a bit more of that horror mood, atmosphere, tone. But like I said, it does do a nice job establishing these characters, so I can't, that's at least something nice to talk about. Like I said, the score, the cinematography, I don't really have too much issues with that. I said interesting that McConaughey's character will see these hallucinations and visions from time to time. It's not something you typically see in this kind of movie, so I thought that was an interesting addition. But yeah, I just would like to see a bit more of a horror or like mood, atmosphere. Like, again, meat to the matter of the crime. If you throw in some foot chases and stuff, that'd be nice to see as well. Who knows? Well, Ben knows. The people who saw this already knows, but overall, it's at least pulling me in and interested to see more, which is what Westworld did not do, and Stranger Things is okay, but this is more my cup of tea than Stranger Things. I will say right off the bat, which is funny because you would think Stranger Things should be more my cup of tea. I don't know if I'm just getting older or what. Maybe because I see so many fucking shows and movies trying to rip off the 80s. And 80s, I love the 80s, but you're using it as a gimmick, and it's a pretty girl, but you're fucking her too many times, and she's missing teeth. Maybe you should calm down on the 80s stuff, Hollywood. It's like she's a beautiful girl, 25 and still alive. Stop knocking her teeth out with, get the gold-plated dick out. Just have a natural dick. Have my dick. It's natural and fine, no gold-plated, no fucking teeth breaking. Anyway, sorry. But True Detective, not bad so far. Not bad. It's fairly interesting. So, with that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.